Shalom, I'm Rabbi Jonathan Ginsburg of the Ezra Havanim Naos Township Jewish Congregation of Skokie. This is a brief Devar Torah about Parashat Naso, one of the portions in the book of Numbers. One of the most famous aspects of Naso is that it has the priestly benediction. Very simple. The words are Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'ir Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'ir means light, so may you be enlightened, or may God lift up God's countenance to you and be gracious unto you. May God lift up, Yisa, God's countenance to you and grant you shalom, peace. Now, how is this used? Well, first of all, priests, descendants of the Kohanim, that is, direct linear descendants of Aaron, the first high priest, they do this every day in Jerusalem. They put a prayer shawl over their head. They spread their fingers, splitting the first two and the last two underneath their talit, and then someone calls off the words, and they, in front of the synagogue, with their backs to the ark and their shoes off, after having their hands washed by the Levites, offer these words in prayer to the congregation. Outside of Jerusalem, it's done in Orthodox synagogues on the Sabbath in Israel, and outside of Israel in the diaspora, it's done by traditional synagogues on the festival days. Besides the Kohanim doing it, it's often done by rabbis or officiants at baby namings, at marriage ceremonies, blessing the bar bat mitzvah. In our synagogue, we do it every Friday night and every Saturday morning to end our services. It's recited by parents to their children on Friday evenings as part of the parental blessing. It's a very commonly used blessing, the most famous and common blessing in Judaism. One famous story is the Vulcan Spock, and I also mentioned this on my video about Kohanim, priests, use the same finger split in a very similar word, be peaceful and prosper, in Star Trek. And the reason was that he was a Jew and used to go to synagogue with his grandfather, who used to watch the duchening of the priests, and he learned it that way. Now, what does it mean? Well, may God bless you and guard you. You can interpret that lots of ways. Our sages had their own explanation that God should bless you with physical peace and spiritual peace. And then may God enlighten you, Ya'ir. That seems to be self-evident. And be gracious to you, Chanun. And may God lift up God's face to you and grant you peace, inner peace. It also means fulfillment and fullness. One very interesting story was that archaeologists some years ago found near Jerusalem a piece of silver wrapped like tinfoil in an old grave site. And they took it to the metallurgists at the Jerusalem Hebrew University. It took them a while to unroll it, and they found some ancient writing on there that wasn't recognized. So they sent it to the Hebrew department, and after very careful looking, it was a kind of Hebrew they really weren't familiar with, ancient Hebrew, from probably 2,700 years ago. They found, after they recognized the word Yud He Vav He, one of the names of God, that it probably was an ancient form of the priestly benediction. It's a little bit different than the one we have today. So obviously there were variant traditions about what exactly the blessing was. Even though this blessing is from the Torah, which is earlier, it was not a fixed form yet in the year 700 BCE probably. And many people speculate that perhaps that was an ancient form of perhaps tefillin, the phylacteries we wear, and that before that was definitely set what should be in it, some people thought that that's what should be in it. Maybe. We just don't know, because the Mishnah prohibits silver tefillin. So maybe that was an ancient form that was later prohibited. In any case, it's one of the most important prayers in the world and in Judaism, and it comes from the Torah portion of Parashat Naso.